Hello everyone, how you doing? This is Lord PeteyTV here, just to give you all another weekly update on what our Mythic Plus affixes are going to be and how to counter them, and I want to talk to you all about that. First of all, let's get the other stuff out of the way. I just want to make sure you all know to make sure you hit that subscribe button here. You go to the Twitch channel, which is Lord PeteyTV. Make sure you go there and you hit that follow button there so you can see when we're going to be going live, so when you can see us when we are, doing our thing. Also, just make sure you know you can use Lord PeteyTV at our good friend Rogue Energy Drinks if you're ever looking to drink any of those as one of our sponsored partners. Now, for now, let's go into what our next week is going to look like. As we always do, we do our little rundown. What we have next week is going to be Tyrannical, Sanguine, Explosive, Thundering. Now, as usual, what are those things? Tyrannical, bosses having 30% more health and dealing more damage. And then we have our Sanguine, which is the non-boss enemies leaving a pool of blah, 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 blah behind them as they die. And then we have our Explosives, which is those ginormous orbs that are, appear randomly towards mostly the melee. And if those, after a couple seconds, if they're not destroyed, they end up exploding and doing 40% damage to everyone in the raid group. So be very careful with those. And then anyway, we have Thundering, as we know, is our seasonal affix, which is those enemies, we end up getting, those like Thundering affix put on you, and you have to kind of like, connect with the charges, and, if you don't, you blow up, and, that fun stuff. So, now, let's just take a quick moment to kind of think about this, okay? So, for tanks, what you're going to have to be aware of is a lot of things at once. You're going to have to be, always be on your toes this week, all right? So this is what I'm talking about. The reason why you're going to always have to be on your toes is because Tyrannical is going to be making you on your toes with your bosses so you don't get destroyed and tapped and one shot there. Then you're going to have your Sanguine, which means you're going to have to consistently be kiting ads backwards. So you're going to have to be watching for those, and you're going to have to be keeping an eye on Explosives, because if you don't take your Explosives out between those and the Sanguine, you're going to cause some problems. Thankfully, this week, in my personal opinion, is actually a little bit on the easier side. The reason for that is because the Sanguine is almost a non-existent affix if your tanks know how to properly deal with that. Meaning, if they know how to kite them and they know how to work with them, that's perfect and that's great. The next thing you got to be worried about is your Explosives, and that meaning is that all your DPS and your healers and your tank have to kind of watch those. So let me digress for a moment here. Let me just go back to our list. I'm sorry, I was about to go off into a tangent. So your melee DPS. Make sure when you are DPSing your mobs, you stand to the side. So if you see your tank is going to be kiting back this way, doing their thing, make sure you're DPSing this way. You're kind of going across and doing your thing. Now, when you're ending up doing that, it's going to allow you to maximize your DPS and not worry about standing in the Sanguine, because Sanguine is usually the biggest healer of the dungeon at the end, in my personal opinion. Okay? And then the next thing you got to know is that you have to, and you got to make sure you keep an eye on that. As for your Thundering, make sure you're consistently doing your wiping and things like that. Next thing you're going to want to take a look at is your ranged DPS. Now, your ranged DPS, your Boomkins, your Shadow Priests, those are very much going to be your biggest friends this week, okay? And your healers also. And the reason why I'm saying that is because they are going to be able to help you take out those Explosives so much easier, okay? But for the most part, let me talk about the ranged DPS. Ranged DPS, the biggest thing you have to worry about this week is those Explosives, okay? Help your healer, okay? The reason why I'm saying help your healer, because you're not going to be worried about Sanguine, okay, on any of your pulls, because you're going to be in, hanging out in, far, far away, and you're going to be DPSing mobs down. You're going to be ending up being able to do high amounts of DPS damage to your tyrannical bosses, Okay? Your explosives, if you're one of the ones that I named, right, you're going to be able to one-shot those bad boys. Shadow Priests are going to love this week because they're going to be filling up your shadow bar, whatever that thing is called. I totally am blanking on its name. You're going to be ending up filling that bar up as you're going across. So you guys are like showering in energy. So you're going to want to, make sure you take care of those. So your range, you're going to have a pretty good week. Not too much to worry about. As for your healers, you're going to have either one of two situations that are going to happen. You're either going to have people that are going to be standing in garbage because they don't know how to kite around with Sanguine. That's going to be me. I'm going to be standing in Sanguine. And then you're going to have your tanks, which are going to be taking a lot of damage on bosses. And then you're supposed to be the priority to take out the explosives so the DPS don't have to worry about anything but explosives. Okay? So, think about that. Personally, me, I think an explosives is an everyone affix, but people don't want the DPS to come off and do that. So, I apologize. Just something to make sure you remember and think about. Alright, so that would be your healers. Now, let's take a quick thought about this whole entire affix as a whole. All the affixes, I should say, as a whole, okay? The mobs you're going to want to be careful of this week are going to be Ruby Life Pools, because the second boss and the third boss are going to have increased health. Those guys are very, very painful as it is now, but the increased damage on top of that is going to cause some problems. Azure Vaults, same deal. You're going to have that last boss, which is going to be a pain in the tushy. So you got to be careful of that. So really, really be careful of that stuff. Now, I think that this week is going to be a great week to push on. Now, I kind of see that half-sies, I should say. And the reason why I'm saying that is because Tyrannical is really what's going to be slowing you down the most this week. The Tyrannical is going to slow you down because it's going to take you forever to kill bosses. Now, as for the Sanguine, it could cause you to even slow down more of your bosses. So you got to be really, really careful of that. Oh, also, Holes of Valor. Be very careful of the last two bosses. Those guys are going to take forever to kill, and that timer is so short. Something to think of. So be very wary of that. But anyway, be very, very careful how things go there. Now, I want to bring it up because it's a really important thing to be aware of. And I'm just going to summarize this whole thing because it's just too much information to go through. There's been a lot of hotfixes, okay, over the past couple of weeks. Now, when was the 9th? The 9th was last Monday. Now, they announced that that a lot of classes got increased DPS and damage last week, and they're talking about it happening again once 10.05 comes out, which I think they're saying might be the 26th, which is also the day the Catalyst comes out. So, a lot of the classes are getting buffed. Some of them are getting nerfed to kind of equalize everything. Now, there are some things I can kind of understand that they're bringing up, and some of them that I can understand why they're bringing them down. But overall, I think that this is going to be one of the first times the classes are going to kind of feel like they're in a bubble instead of being, pushed all over the place. So I think that in the end, it's going to actually work out to everybody's benefit because everybody is working together. I am very surprised, though, that they keep buffing Evokers. I am not surprised that they're buffing Hunters, Feral Druids, Demon Hunter Vengeance specifically, Mages, Brewmaster Monks, Red Pallies, Holy Priests, Shadow Priests, Warlocks, Affliction and Destruction. All those are things I can kind of see them doing, and I can understand it. Mistweaver monks, I'm actually very excited to see their healing increase, but I don't understand why they're going to push him even more. Feral druids, they're giving them a damage increase now, which is great, and then they're going to give them another one in 10.05. So that's going to be pretty interesting. Outlaw rogues, they're actually nerfing them a little bit, but not too much. And then there's going to be a lot of different nerfs when it comes to a bunch of different things. Ruby life pools, the not code offensive, Alligator Academy, as we like to call it. So like those things, I'm kind of like, you know, they're all being nerfed to make sure that they're fine for the future, which not too bad. I'll take it as a positive. So yeah, everything in general is kind of moving and it's going pretty smoothly, and we'll see how things happen in 10.05. Now, a couple of hints I want to make sure you all remember. If you got the money, pick up the elemental lariats, get your neck pieces, make sure you buy a level 2 socket and then a level 3 socket so you get 3 gems, okay? And then you can proceed forward from there. Just want to make sure you realize what you're getting, what you need. All right, so that is something. All right, now, once again, I hope you all enjoyed this. If you have any questions, comments, anything, please make sure you say it below. I try to be pretty quick on answering those things. I pretty much on my phone, waiting for all notifications happening on the channel at all times. Please make sure you hit the follow button here. And like I said, I'm sorry, you hit your subscribe button here, you hit your follow button on Twitch. If you're looking to support me and support the channel and support everything that we do, make sure you hit that subscribe button over there. I greatly appreciate it and it allows me to continue to do what I'm doing. I hope to see you all soon, and thank you all for the support. I will see you all next week. Dream big, keep gaming, have a great time. Thank you again, everyone. And remember, we are on every single day, Monday through Friday on Twitch, okay? I'll see you all soon. Bye, everybody.